Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Backlog Banter. My name is Tucker Hazel, and this is my bright-eyed and bushy-tailed co-host, Abram Buhner. And today, we're here to talk to you about the games that we have been playing this past week and the games that the members of our community in our Discord, which you should join, have been playing as well, because we have community submissions segment, as we do every week at the end of this episode. But if you want to keep up with us and join this community, you can join our Discord. As I said, link is in the description. Please do that. I'm not above begging. I'm on my hands and knees. Do it, please. Please. And you can like the video and subscribe. But if you're watching this show, you've probably already done that. Let's be real. This is not drawing in many new followers for Backlog Banter. But Abram, thank you for joining me. Thank you for joining me. How you feeling this morning?
I'm feeling sad. It's been a poor morning.
Oh, I was folding my laundry. Look at that. That made me happy.
Well,
did you actually have a bad morning? I'm sorry.
No, I'm trying to fuck up the vibes of the show. But you know what? They won't be fucked up for long because, of course, Tucker, as he does every week, will have nice music in the background of this to smooth over everybody's, the sorrows of life we washed away when Tucker puts whatever music the community wants in the background of this video.
Yeah.
But Tucker, let's stop with our meta humor and get into the games we've been playing. You want to go first? You should actually probably go first.
Yeah.
Because I think I have 4 games.
All right. I've got more. And I think I'll start with the game, not that I played first in this past week chronologically, but the one that I played the most of, and the one I'm most interested to talk about, which is Uncharted Golden Abyss for the
go prop comedy. Oh fuck yeah, I love prop comedy.
PS Vita,
prop comedy,
which I obtained for Christmas with a copy of Uncharted Golden Abyss, which is actually in my tearaway PS Vita case. There's Uncharted, and also, believe it or not, I have Tearaway, which is now in my console for when it's time for me to play that. But yeah, I was very excited to play Uncharted Golden Abyss because I have played every other Uncharted game, and it was always frustrating to me, not necessarily because I was fascinated by Golden Abyss, but because there was still that one missing piece of the puzzle that I'm so close to having played every single Uncharted game. God, I just want to play Golden Abyss. And I finally got my hands on a Vita. Obviously, it's a very high quality model. Thank you to my mother for getting this for Christmas.
You got that OLED screen on that, boy? Just say yes.
Yes, maybe.
Nice.
I know you can tell the serial number on the bottom, but I don't know. 2000? Is that the OLED one?
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
Okay,
but also if you hit it with a hammer and it breaks, it's the OLED one.
Yeah. The other one, never gonna break with a hammer.
It'll break too.
Yes, very hard to tell. But so obviously I have a Vita, I have Uncharted Golden Abyss, and I have since played through it. And my thoughts on the game have changed from before, because as I said, I wasn't very fascinated by Golden Abyss in particular, just that it was the missing piece of my puzzle. But now I'm fascinated by Golden Abyss in particular. Yay, let's go. Because I think this game is actually great, surprisingly great. It is so damn close to the console versions of the original trilogy of Uncharted but squeezed down on to this tiny thing that it really blows my mind. And my sort of thesis statement about Uncharted Golden Abyss, and this will be how I discuss the game going forward, is even a knockoff Naughty Dog game, because this game is not developed by Naughty Dog, is still better than most games that the industry puts out. This game is trying its damnedest to be a Naughty Dog game, and frankly, there's not a lot of ways you can tell that it's not one of the games developed, especially within that original trilogy.
Yeah, it's developed by Ben Studio.
And studio behind Bubsy 3D.
Yes, that's the most acclaimed accomplishment. So I've actually played Golden Abyss also. There was a brief period of time, circa 2016, when I owned a PS Vita myself.
Interesting.
I ended up selling it when I got my Switch and was using that, and I just didn't really feel like I needed a Vita anymore.
Yeah.
Big mistake. I wish I still had it, because Vita is an awesome piece of hardware. I think Vita is really great.
Yeah.
Golden Abyss, for me, I agree with you. It's a great game. But I didn't really connect with me. I played a couple hours of it, and this is post Uncharted 4. And for me, I felt like I've seen the natural conclusion of Uncharted. This is one of my more unpopular opinions as it stands now, but I don't necessarily think we need more Uncharted games personally.
No, I don't necessarily either.
Yeah, I
feel like I've played fucking 6 of them.
Yeah, I feel like we've seen what this franchise can offer, and we got a little bit more variety with Lost Legacy and everything, but we know what Uncharted is.
Yes.
And so when I was playing Golden Abyss, I was like, yeah, this is Uncharted, but it's a little bit clunkier because the Vita sticks aren't particularly great for shooting. It's a little bit more gimmicky with the back touch and the front touch and everything. It's a little bit more unrefined. It's nonetheless very, very good. But for me, it just felt like I had done this already. So
yeah, what I'm hearing from you, and actually I think this is fascinating, is I think you played it in the exact wrong time. I think if you had played it earlier or later, you would have appreciated the game a lot more for what it is. I think it falls into that sort of Super Mario 3D World spot where it was very frustrating because people played it at a certain time. 3D World classically got a lot of hate for not being that next evolution for 3D Mario. And now that Odyssey's out, people respect it a lot more. I think in a weird way, this is mirrored by that because I'm living in a post-Uncharted 4 world as well. I'm also living in a post-Lost Legacy world. Both of those games are fantastic. Both some of my favorite games of all time. But it has been 3-4 years since I played any Uncharted game. So now that I've had enough time to have those be back in the past and sort of miss that classic Uncharted formula, because as I've played every game in the series, it was really fun for me to go back, not to something that is incredibly modern, but something that properly recaptures the energy of the original trilogy, which all of which I enjoy, even though Drake's Fortune is a fucking shit show. But does just enough new to where I do feel like it stands on its own legs. A lot of the Vita touch control stuff and gimmicky stuff, I actually think is surprisingly well implemented. I don't think any of it is obtrusive, which is usually how people feel about gimmicky controls. But things like, okay, Drake's going to fall off a beam, tilt your Vita back and forth like this. That's fine. It only happens like once every 3 chapters. I can do that for 10 seconds. Charcoal rubbings for some of the collectibles. Okay, just do that. Fine. Yeah, it's a little bit of treasure hunting goodness, and it accurately follows your finger as you're going across. That's fine by me. I think the thing that is the weirdest is when you're doing melee combat, you have to swipe to dodge and to punch, which is weird. But I didn't use melee combat that much, so it wasn't a huge problem. But there's a little fingerprint trail on my Vita screen now. But for what this game is, I think that it really uses every aspect of the Vita's hardware to its best. I think this is very clearly what the Vita was intended to be. This is console parity games on the go. It is very visually impressive for a pre-Switch portable game. I mean, it's probably one of the most graphically impressive handheld games, period, pre-Switch, which of course is handheld, but whatever.
Yeah.
And I really wish that, and I know this is not a new thought, but I wish that Sony had supported the Vita with more content like this. This is a launch game for the Vita, and it's still very impressive to today. If this had gotten a sequel, if there had been a Vita God of War game, a Vita version of The Last of Us, any of these big AAA quality games on the system, I really do think it would have done way better, because this is exactly what the system was made for and as what it was sold as. But we didn't get many of those because they just did not support the console fully. And it's really unfortunate. And now that I'm, I guess, a Vita fan, I mean, I've only played one Vita game, but I was very impressed by what I played. I can join the crowd of, damn, Sony really fucked over the Vita, didn't they?
No, they definitely did. But I suppose also from my personal perspective, I think they always were going into the Vita with the wrong mindset. I don't think that the whole home console on the go decision was right ever.
Okay, sure.
I think what's really effective about Nintendo's handhelds and even the PSP was we're going to create handheld oriented experiences.
Sure. Yeah.
I think especially by the time that the Vita came out, like I think that the reason you didn't get that high fidelity Last of Us game on Vita is because why would you put that on the Last of Us when you can put that on the PS4? Because the Vita came out very close to the end of the PS3's life cycle in the first place. So I always think that was kind of a tenuous proposition. When I was using my Vita the most, and this kind of is what it became in its later years, it was for indie games. It was for the smaller experiences that felt more handheld tailored. So I think the other thing to your point about maybe playing it at the right time for Golden Abyss is if the game had been more handheld oriented, not in the fucking fight for fortune sense of it's a spin-off, but like if the design philosophy had been a little bit more unique to the platform, I think that might have spoken to me more. But yes, it does use the actual hardware And it's the archetypal launch game.
Yes.
It's there's a back touch, we're going to use it. There's a gyroscope, we're going to use it. There's a front touch, we're going to use
The
it.
back touch was only used 4 times in the entire game, as far as I know.
Am I thinking of a different game, or do you like hold it up to the light sometimes and the camera will look through documents? One time? Okay.
Yes.
That's very
one time. And I know that for certain because I got every collectible in this game. I 100%ed Golden Abyss. I did not play it on all the difficulties, which is required for the fucking platinum, because Uncharted has a godforsaken antiquated trophy system where you got to play every single difficulty.
Rushing playthrough.
You got to fucking get 100 headshots with every weapon for different trophy. Who the fuck designed that? What the hell is that? But I got every collectible because one thing I do think this game does better than almost any of the other Uncharted games is foreground the treasure hunting aspect of Nathan Drake's personality and adventures. There's a lot more collectibles in this game than most of them. And what I think that leads to, combined with a slightly different structure, is something that is maybe a little bit hard to tell from the outside, but while you're playing it, more geared towards a handheld experience. These levels are very short. They are they're 15, 20-minute levels. That's a handheld setting. I think that's very reasonable for a chapter of a game. The collectibles lead to more replay value, more replayability than other games, because it's very easy to hop into a specific chapter. It tells you exactly what collectibles you need, like what kinds they are, and you can go back and get them. I think that the short chapters and the focus on treasure hunting and collectibles is that handheld design philosophy that maybe again isn't so obvious from the outside, because this game again tries its damnedest to be exactly like Uncharted 1, 2, 3. It's not, but I think that is for the better for the system that's on. And one thing I do think is interesting about this game is that it ostensibly has its own world. I mean, Sully shows up in the second half of the game for like a third of the game, but that's really the only connection to the larger Uncharted universe.
It's a prequel, right?
Yes, this is a prequel to Drake's Fortune, and it's not particularly obvious. Like there's no huge moments that you're like, oh, I see why Drake is this way going forward. But it instead introduces Jason Dante and Marissa Chase, who are 2 totally solid Uncharted characters. They're not as memorable as Sully or Elena or Chloe because we didn't have 5 games with them. But I really enjoyed learning about them. I think the presence of Commander Guerrero or whatever, he's just some fucking Panamanian general guy. He's the villain of the game. He's more present than fucking, I don't know, Lazarevich or whatever from Uncharted 2. So I appreciated that more. And I do feel like it goes more into sort of, maybe I'm not properly remembering the stories of the other ones, but the sort of lore of why Drake is here, why this history of this civilization that they're uncovering is important and all this stuff. So I've really found almost every aspect of this game to be fascinating. I think it's just, it's not on the bar of quality of most of them, but that's because it's on a system that's a sixth as powerful as the one that the first one was released for. So I think that's very impressive.
Yeah, it's too bad that because there are constant reports and rumors that have been to some extent have corroborated that the game was being ported to PS3 and the port never materialized. Which is too bad because that game probably should escape Vita at some point. But
yes, it won't.
Alas, that's what happens. It's unfortunately that's what happens when you design a piece of hardware with so many bizarre gimmicks, like untranslatable gimmicks, like the back touch. But it is what it is. Tucker, let's talk about Mario versus Donkey Kong.
Oh yeah, the original one.
Well, no. Here's the deal.
Hold on.
Here's where it gets complicated.
Okay. Sorry. I'm sorry I'm not up on the Mario versus Donkey Kong lore.
Mario versus Donkey Kong 2004 is the first game in the Mario versus Donkey Kong spin-off series, which became focused on the minis from 2 forward.
Yes.
However, Mario versus Donkey Kong 1 is a direct sequel that takes basically all of its mechanics and gameplay ideas from Donkey Kong 94 on Game Boy. So that's where this game is situated. It's in this really fucking weird place where it's the first game in a series that has no relation to it from a gameplay level after that first game. And it also does not have its own identity because it is a direct sequel to a Game Boy game from literally a decade prior. It also sucks.
This game sucks? Okay.
Yes. This is I think one of my least favorite and what I would consider to be one of the worst Nintendo games I've ever played.
Really? Wow. Okay.
Now, Nintendo games can get really bad.
Mhm.
People who say that Nintendo has a minimum bar of quality are lying to you, or
Mhm.
they're ignoring the games that blatantly fall below that. But this game for me,
You know what? Hold on. I'm gonna write this down. I think we should do a video on the worst Nintendo games. I think that's I
sure.
think that's a phenomenal discussion to have.
No, I think that'd be a great discussion to have.
Okay.
But basically, if people aren't familiar, that this is a puzzle platformer, and the general conceit of the game is Donkey Kong stole a big bag of Mario Minis toys, and you got to go rescue them.
Mhm.
And to do that, you play as Mario, and you're traversing these levels with increasingly complex puzzle gimmicks. You basically need to get on each level, you get a key to unlock a door to get to the second phase of the level where you save a Mario Mini.
Yeah.
That's the gameplay loop. The problem is that Mario controls like fucking dog shit, and it makes the game infuriating to play. Now, I will note that I played this game with COVID boosters, like side effects, to the point where like the movement of my clothes against my skin hurt me. So that was making the experience worse for sure. So I'll put that asterisk on everything.
Okay. Yeah, which is an unusually specific scenario to be playing Mario versus Donkey Kong 2004 in, and one that I would pretty much guarantee that no one else has ever done.
Absolutely. And now
you will probably be the only human in history to play Mario versus Donkey Kong 2004 with COVID booster symptoms.
Right. Probably. But so the problem.
Unless I have anything to say about it.
The problem with this game at its core is that Mario controls terribly.
Sure.
He does not control as you want Mario to control. Tucker, you know, like the parts in Ratchet and Clank where you get like your fucking like magnetic boots so you can walk around shit.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like. It feels like you're always being yoinked back down to the ground when you jump.
Okay. Yeah.
Mario doesn't walk, he trundles. He is very, very deliberate and slow on the ground. And that leads to this feeling of incredible imprecision when you're trying to jump.
Okay.
And he controls almost not at all in the air. When you make a movement, you've committed to the movement.
Yeah.
And in a game where Mario has a singular hit point or he dies, that becomes incredibly frustrating when you're trying to traverse these levels. And sometimes because of the confines of that GBA screen, a hazard will come at you from off the edge of the screen that you don't see coming, or the hitboxes aren't quite precise enough, so you take damage you didn't expect it, or you simply were running, but Mario's momentum doesn't carry right into a jump, so you fell off of a platform instead of jumping across it. The game just feels consistently wrong. The physics of the game feel wrong.
Interesting.
And because of that, it was impossible for me to enjoy the rest of the game, especially when it basically just rips its ideas from Donkey Kong 94. It's both shockingly iterative and shockingly poor on a physics level. And those are the two worst things that a Mario puzzle platformer could possibly be.
Yeah. People don't talk about this game.
No.
But this certainly spinned off into like 6-entry franchise, which is bizarre. And also no one talks about any of those either. I don't know anything about this game specifically, how it was received when it came out, what it was sort of positioned as when it was released, all this stuff. I mean, maybe you know a little more about that as you're doing research about this game, but I'm interested in these weird pockets of Nintendo history. I mean, obviously, as you are as well, because even if it's not good, it's interesting because we don't get a lot of bad Mario platformer games specifically, I would say. Right. So having one that exists is interesting within itself. But how did you play this game? Wii U Virtual Console, probably?
Wii U Virtual Console, yeah, which is basically the only viable way to play Game Boy Advance games.
That's a good point. Yeah, unless you're hacker man like I am.
Yeah, I mean, like I guess this could play them, but it's not going to. You gotta fucking take out my goddamn gamepad and play on the gamepad usually. But please bring GBA to Switch. Tangential point, but please do that.
Yeah.
But no, I did a little bit of reading into it. The reviews are actually on the whole positive for this game.
Okay.
The biggest point of dissent I heard was from friend of the show John Cartwright. As I was watching his Donkey Kong 94 video just to get some context more about that game, because I played a little bit, but I've never beaten DK94. And then he ends up talking a little bit about Mario versus Donkey Kong in the end and how he doesn't like it. He didn't actually mention the physics of it, but more focused on how it just really does rip a lot of the exact puzzle gimmicks from 94.
Sure. Yeah.
which I think is honestly less of an issue than the way the game controls, because we recontextualize the puzzles. I mean, it had been a decade.
Yeah.
I think you can borrow ideas from past games if there's a decade between them. But I guess flip side of that coin, if it's been so long, you kind of want something newer than that.
Yes.
So
and also maybe it might end up feeling kind of antiquated if it's the same shit a decade.
Yeah. It's a really weird game, and I think it is genuinely very poor, because even bad Nintendo games like a Star Fox Zero or what have you have interesting ideas.
Yeah.
Even if those ideas aren't interesting in a good way, they're interesting ideas.
Yeah.
This game has none of those. So
wow.
That's my second least favorite game of the year.
Donkey Kong versus Mario Kong is a 0 out of 10.
I have played 73. I have beaten 73 unique video games this year. This is my 72nd favorite of those.
What's below that?
Mirror's Edge.
Oh Jesus, that's a really God. That's a heinous fucking opinion. Okay, well, let's move on to I think I'm just going to do a sort of double feature here. Catching up on two games that you discussed last week that I was able to give a try, which is Shovel Knight Pocket Dungeon and Townscaper. Whoa, he's doing funny faces. Which one would you like me to start with? Oh, come on, it's not that hard.
Start with Shovel Knight. Okay,
Shovel Knight Pocket Dungeon is pretty interesting. I don't really know why they felt the need that this be a Shovel Knight themed game, other than expanding the brand. But as you explained last week, this is a falling block puzzle game, where you try to get combos by stacking up blocks of the same type, or they're usually enemies or dirt blocks or something like that, and destroying them and trying to get combos and getting items from a shop and then going on to the next level. Now, I really do not understand the combo system of this game. I understand that more block of the same kind next to each other give bigger score, but I'm not giga-brained enough to set up big combos. So I'm finding this game to be really repetitive in a not very interesting way, because I've gotten to 9 levels in a single run or something like that, which is, I don't know, maybe close to how many there are in a single run.
That should be all of them or close to it.
Okay, well, I have not beaten the game. But from what I have played, I kind of just randomly go around, and if I see I'm low on health, I'm like, okay, I gotta go get a push, and then I just try to stay alive. And I would say that's my inability to understand the combo system primarily. But I do think the game is good. I just am not into the roguelike systems enough, or these particular falling block puzzle game systems enough to make this game particularly compelling. I think it's an interesting idea that they're combining roguelike elements and falling block puzzle game elements, both of which are fucking genres that have been beaten to death, brought back to life, and beaten to death again. So there's nothing, I would say, not necessarily anything wrong with this game. I think your discussion last week, where you said that you recognize its quality, but you know it's just not for you in certain aspects. I think that pretty much applies to me as well. I want to give the game another try because I'd like to at least finish a run. And I do think, I'm far enough into the game in terms of upgrades unlocked, and there's a cannon that'll shoot you to later levels if you unlock it and stuff like that. I can finish a run if I just put like another hour into it or something like that, of just continually trying and maybe understanding the systems a little bit better. But after that, I'll delete this game from my system and probably never think of it again, frankly. Yeah. Sorry, Shovel Knight Pocket Dungeon. Not for me.
If you want to hear my thoughts, pause this video, go back to the other BLB video, play my part, then come back, unpause this. That's what you should do.
Which brings us to the other game that you talked about either last week or the week before, which is Townscaper, which I ended up playing with a couple friends because none of us had ever experienced before. We were just sitting on the couch and we were just like, what the fuck is this? Abram talked about it a little bit. And Townscaper is just a city building game. That's it. But without any stakes, without any mechanics per se, without any, there's nothing to really do in the game other than enjoy the idea that you are creating a visually appealing, for the most part, city. And yep, I do wish that with this there came more options of world saves, of maybe some more granular detail if you wanted to change colors to be different RGB fucking hex code deals. Like I think that this could have a lot more granularity to it, that I do think would enhance the experience that it's going for, in terms of you're just creating and there's no stakes. I think they could lean heavier into that, to the customizability. But what there is cool. I mean, it's a cheap game. It's a simple game. It knows exactly what it is, and I highly respect it for that. I really enjoyed the art style that the creator went for, of making everything kind of angular and pastel, and build up in really fluid ways. The recontextualized single piece that you can put down is a really fascinating idea, and watching it sort of snap and then affect everything around it is really cool. The funny thing with it is, I say visually appealing for the most part, because if you just, and my friend did this, if you just fucking spam and just like build a tower that's super tall and build a thing off of it, it contextualizes it within the physics of the world by having metal girders come down to support it, and that can make your tower look like absolute dog shit if there's fucking support beams and metal going everywhere. Which obviously that makes sense. It's not a knock against the game, but I was like, man, we were talking about as we were creating our first town. I was like, wow, it's really hard to make your town look bad in this game. I don't know if you can. Like, it's always just automatically appealing. And then he was like, and then I'm like, never mind. You found the one way to make this town look bad. But yeah, I had a good time with it. I think it's an interesting idea that we don't see a lot of just a game that exists to relax in, to be creative in, without any extenuous, that's not even a fucking word, mechanics that put pressure on the player. So yeah, I had a good time with it. For what it is, highly respect it.
Yeah, I just think that philosophy of emptiness is really useful in a landscape where 99% of games want you to meta game in some respect. Relaxing in Animal Crossing is not really relaxing in Animal Crossing when it's towards the meta game of raising the island stars or X or Y or Z. I wrote about this for Retroware. I think this game really forced me to confront the idea of the need for completionism or microdoses of progress in games. Because you can't do this here. You just play Townscaper. That's all you do. It's just
not in the game. Yeah.
You have to enjoy Townscaper because you enjoy it, not because you're progressing towards something. And I think that's really a compelling idea.
Yeah. Good on insert creator's name here.
Oscar Stahlberg.
That guy.
Yeah, he also made Bad North, which I'd like to play.
Oh, I've heard of that.
Let's see, Tucker, where should we go next? Let's go into the fiery depths of Tucker hell and talk about Halo Infinite some more.
Oh, okay.
Because you once again have to listen to me talk about Halo.
Now, this is actually funny. I went back and I have a backlog list that's every game we've talked about on the show. And so I clicked through each episode that we've done in the last 2 months or something like that to complete that list. I think we've talked about Halo Infinite every week for the last 2.5 months. That's not even a joke.
As we should. Halo Infinite, by the way, I listen to Sacred Symbols every week. They talk about Halo Infinite there too all the time. Also,
yeah. That's
how big this game is. Sitting on Sacred Symbols. Well, also Chris Ray-Gun is Chris Ray-Gun is the Halo man on the internet, so that's not a big surprise. But here's the point.
Also, it's not like Halo is an indie franchise. They don't.
No,
Halo
but it's
is
Xbox
big because
franchise.
It's fucking Halo.
Yes. But when even the PlayStation podcasts are talking about Halo Infinite, you got something good in hands. Yep. But it has been a really weird couple weeks in my life, just generally.
Sure.
With a lot of stresses for a lot of different reasons. I'm not going to fucking turn this into a therapy session here on BLB. But the point is, I found it
BLB after hours.
Yes, I have found it very hard to ever turn my brain off recently.
Yes,
in the sense, not in the sense of fucking monkey man, I banging rocks together, shooting guys, turning my brain off. That's not what I mean. What I mean is, I can't put my mind to a task and have my mind only there. It keeps wandering. Halo Infinite is the first game in a long time where I have played it and been able to actually escape. This is the first time that a game has felt like actual escapism for me in a long time.
Mm-hmm.
When I turn on that game and I either am playing multiplayer or I'm back on Zeta Halo, I am just playing Halo. And that to me is a testament to the fact that this game is resonating with me on such an acute fucking level.
Mm-hmm.
Partially because of my work, partially because of this show, partially because of just how I've come to enjoy games more. I have wanted to move on to new games, to try to complete a title and move on. But I think I just hit 50 hours in Halo Infinite last night, and I have no interest in stopping. I'm going to be playing probably another 4 hours tonight, just the way it goes, because just everything about this world to me is what I need right now.
Sure.
I think that the mechanics are so perfectly in tune with what I'm looking for. The sense of challenge, the sense of progressing skill, the way I can see myself getting a little bit better every night, the way I clear a little bit more of that map, get a couple more lore details from the weapon, have a couple more fun sandbox encounters. I mean, like, the more I play this game, the further the disparity between my second favorite game of the year and this one grows.
Mm-hmm.
It just, at this point, all I'm doing is there's no new praise I can levy at the game. I learn new little things. I gain new appreciation for the map design as I play more, and I start playing Tactical Slayer, which is headshots with BRs, and you have to know how to move around that map to find the opponent. I'm gaining that map knowledge. I'm gaining a better sense of how to approach encounters on Zeta Halo. All of that's true, but that's not really the narrative of Halo Infinite for me anymore. It's the fact that for once, when my day is done, the work is done, I can just play Halo and take a break from everything. And that is so refreshing. And it's just a testament to how perfectly this game is hitting for me, which is really curious, because Halo Infinite is being widely panned by a lot of people in that hardcore community right now for a number of issues.
Okay.
Whether that's for matchmaking troubles, whether that's for the economy of the storefront, whether that's for the long tail of season 1 before season 2 brings co-op and brings seemingly now infection and griffball and all these other modes that have been recently leaked. There's a lot of ire in the community right now. But for me personally, I just can't feel any of that, because I can just be immersed in this game, and that counts for a lot right now. So that's my Halo Infinite update for the week.
Well, it sounds like your thoughts on it have kind of reached a crescendo. Like you've achieved nirvana with Halo Infinite, which is something that I don't think we've ever had happen on this show. Yeah,
and I think it is. The last thing I'd say is I think it's comfortably settled into my third favorite Halo game slot.
Okay.
3, Combat Evolved Infinite.
Interesting. Okay.
It's past Reach. That was back and forth, but I think I put this above Reach now. So shout out to 343, because everybody was fucking dogging them from Halo 4 until 4 weeks ago. Yeah. And they did it. In spite of the issues, they did it. And the game is only going to keep getting better. So
that's my future projection of, I am enjoying Halo Infinite. It is the best Halo game I've ever played. And I'm excited to follow the game as a new Halo player, as a new Halo fan, I guess, as much as it fucking pains me to say. The idea of trying it co-op, of trying these different modes, of finally being able to be in the zeitgeist of especially multiplayer Halo is interesting to me. It's a very unique experience as someone who doesn't play a lot of multiplayer games. Thank you, 343, for putting your game on Game Pass, I guess, because that's really why I'm playing it.
Now, Tucker, are you gonna be my wingman for my legendary co-op run of Halo Infinite?
I will play some of it with you. I will try it, and we will see how hard I flounder. That is very good stream material right there.
That would be really fun.
Yes.
I feel like I've never actually played Halo in Legendary. I've only ever played on Heroic. Okay. This one I want to play in Legendary. And I feel I've played so much of it at this point that Heroic really is not that much of a challenge anymore. So I think that I am going to be prepped for Legendary by the time that drops.
Very, very easy was a challenge for me. This stream is gonna be great. I'm looking forward to it in fucking 7 months or whenever the dumb co-op comes out. Yeah. Okay. Now I still have a lot of games. I dabbled a lot this week.
Sure.
Which I'm excited about. I have one other game that I played a lot of that I'm excited to discuss, and
Yeah.
three more that four, but three more that I played a little bit of. Where should I start with this direction? How many do you have? I just want to balance this out properly.
I have played 2 games that I have any sort of substantive thoughts on. I have a third that I can throw in with a story.
Okay.
So,
we like stories here on BLB.
Sure.
So I'll do another back-to-back double hitter here. With excuse me, 2 co-op games that I played. In that same night that I tried Pocket Dungeon and Townscaper, I also played Phogs and Gang Beasts.
Cool.
And I'm going to start with Phogs. I have less to say about it because so the concept of this game of Phogs is that you and your friend are one dog. That's 2 dogs. The dog head A and B are connected by a tube. The body is a tube.
You're a 2-headed dog, pretty much. You're like cat dog, but dog.
Yeah, you're dog. You're Phog. And whatever this little dumb dog character is controlled by 2 people. And frankly, it doesn't really hinder you that much because the tube in the middle of your body goes a boy and stretches out.
Yes.
So you aren't really restricted in your movement.
Yeah.
But what it does force you to do is work alongside your friend to not be one guy going up a staircase while the other one's going down or something like that. Like it does restrict you in a small way. But I didn't find this game to be that interesting. It really is sort of the bare bones of a co-op puzzle game. It's not a platformer because you can't really jump. The puzzles aren't that interesting. The art style is nice and pleasant, but it's pretty basic.
Yeah.
I think I like the concept of Phogs and looking at this 2-headed dog more than playing the game itself, because me and my friend probably played for 90 minutes. We tried quite a few different levels, and we went for a couple collectibles, but it feels like I've seen this before in terms of puzzle platforming, in terms of co-op gameplay. Nothing here is revolutionary, and I don't necessarily think that's inherently a bad thing. There's nothing really wrong with this game, but the feeling of drollness playing this game, because I felt like I had seen all the puzzles before, was just kind of pervasive, and it led to us finishing a level near the end of our playthrough and being like, should we turn this off? Like, I don't know. We're just going through the motions. That's really what it felt like. It's like you and your friend got to pull 2 levers at the same time to unlock the gate. Okay. Pull the levers. Congratulations. That's about it. The most fun we had was trying to fuck over the other guy by jumping off a cliff and pulling him with him, or grabbing onto something so the other guy couldn't leave or something like that. So that we made our own fun in the levels of Phogs, but the design of the puzzles and the maps, while not terrible, was not engaging enough for me to consider playing more of the game.
So I was doing some research because I didn't want to fuck up his name. I have played Phogs before, and I've actually played it with the PR guy from CodeSync. His name is Jack Sanderson. Jack is a very nice guy. When I was at PAX East, before the world fucking fell apart, in the pre-release stage for Phogs, I was there and I played the game, and I found it to be quite charming. It is actually a game that's on my list to play, perhaps with my sister. I think my sister and I would get a lot of mileage out of it. Yeah, because I get where you're coming from the notion of this game is familiar. It's the sort of like eclectic, like YouTube stream, zany, irreverent multiplayer co-op game. Yeah, is not necessarily new. But I think that there is a charm to the attached nature of your characters. I think that there is a fun to this world in terms of it. It's very bizarre. Yeah,
I believe it was sort of a pillow themed level, a food themed level. I don't know. Like these aren't grass, water, fire, earth themed levels. This is a weird world, and again, I think that is carried by the pastel art style. All of it visually, I think, looks very good. But I do think that, again, it's weird to say, but I feel like I've even seen that before. Games recently have moved so far away from basic level archetypes that seeing a food themed level in a game is not mind-blowing. I've
Sure.
experienced Rayman Origins and Super Mario Odyssey and all these games that take, it's like, oh, this is not a normal ice level. This is an ice level with fucking fruit cubes in it. It's like, okay, yeah, like cool for the first 2 times, but it doesn't feel special from that regard because that is something that has been done. I'm not saying it's not charming. I'm not saying it doesn't look good, but it doesn't really have its own identity.
I suppose so. I just don't know how many other games you play where you're 2 dogs tied together in the middle.
But again, what I'm saying is that is a fun visual concept for the first few minutes, but from what I played, it doesn't really impact the gameplay as much as I thought it would. If you were tied closer together, if the levels were designed in a way where you had to stretch to almost get to a thing or use that middle part of you more to your advantage, it would be interesting. But it mostly just came down to, okay, we need a ball. So someone needs to move a ball to put it in a hole. One of us can do it and the other one's just following behind. Like that doesn't utilize that attached nature to its fullest. And I think that's why I found it to be not necessarily leaning into its own identity that much.
Sure. I mean, in some of the levels that I have played, like we had to like aim water around. So one dog's mouth like clamped onto the faucet and the other one opened its mouth to spew the water. So I think, of course, I was playing like a cross section of levels because it was the demo. So I was seeing more of the game's progression, like more of the mechanical progression in a short amount of time. But on the back of ideas like that, I did find it to be uniquely compelling from that respect. And because, it is, I do still think it's charming. Yeah, Super Mario Odyssey has Luncheon Kingdom and Rayman has its own level gimmicks. But I do think that there's something unique about Phogs in that respect. And the co-op games of this ilk are not that common. Sure, you've got plenty of these single player zany irreverent games, your fucking breads games and your fish game you were talking about before, but co-op games are still a little bit rarer. So I do think that I would want to jump into that full game. So now it's on Game Pass, I believe. I was scrolling Game Pass, I saw it the other day. So maybe I'll report back on Phogs in the future.
I hope you get more out of it. I don't deny that there could be more mechanical variety going in, but when we played an hour and a half and didn't really get almost any of that that unique mechanical ability, I was just like, well, whatever. I mean, it didn't hook me enough with what it started with. I think it just doesn't have necessarily a very compelling opening for the first few hours. So it's a 6 out of 10 for me. Like, it's nothing wrong with it, but I just but that brings us to Gang Beasts, which is a game that has been out for quite a few years now. It's another one of those sort of zany multiplayer fuck with your friends games. It is round-based, physics-based, goopy guys throwing each other off cliffs. That's the entire conceit of the game. And you just try to throw your friend off the cliff more than that he throws you off a cliff. And you have your wobbly arms that you can punch with. You have your goopy body that can go up and down like that. You have a really weird jump. You can climb up surfaces. You can headbutt, which is really satisfying. And if you hit your friend enough, they get knocked out. So you can pick up their body and throw them. And it's really wacky. It's really fun. It leans sort of into the physics in video games aren't quite perfect, and weird shit can happen if you hit something the wrong way or like a seesaw platform hits you on the bottom, you might go flying or something like that. It leans into that side of the fun of video games, which is where a lot of multiplayer fun comes from, is messing with mechanics of a game to try to get to do something it doesn't want to, but doing it anyway and just watching it happen. And we really had fun with this game. So much fun, in fact, that we were just dicking around and playing the round-based game normally. But then I was like, you know what's interesting? The achievements in this game. So we actually went through and got every single achievement in Gang Beasts, which we did in one session. There's only 19 achievements. It's not a particularly insane challenge to get them all, which I appreciate. But it means that I saw pretty much everything Gang Beasts has to offer. And I think the game would probably be more fun if we had 4 players as opposed to the 2 that we had at the time. I also only have 2 Xbox controllers, so couldn't really get past that. But I had a great time with Gang Beasts. Gang Beasts is one of those games that you just sit with your friends and laugh because it's fun to be with your friends and something to mess around with is inherently fun. And I do think the game is unique. I think it's well designed from each of the laps. The maps are very varied. There's like 25 different maps in the game, and they all have their own sort of gimmick that you can throw your friend into a fucking meat grinder or break the cables of the elevator they're standing on to send them smashing down and stuff like that. It's a really, really fun game. And that's a sort of co-op zaniness that I think works best. Prioritizing your fun with your friends rather than necessarily mechanical death.
Yeah.
Yeah, nothing to say about Gang Beasts?
I haven't played Gang Beasts. I've watched a lot of YouTube videos of other people playing Gang Beasts.
Yeah.
Funhouse, I would watch their Gang Beasts videos quite often. Shout out to Tanner Dykstra, the other Funhouse loving boy of the Backlog Banter bunch. But yeah, I mean that is one of the modern multiplayer games. So I'm very cool that you had the fun to try it.
Yeah, and Platinum did.
You got that gamer score going up.
God, I wish Xbox had platinums.
See, what's funny is I think Xbox's version is better.
Really?
I think trying to achieve a higher gamer score is much more interesting than the platinum trophy system, because ultimately, like, yeah, you could compare the number of platinums you have, but I think the idea that everything you're doing is going towards this incrementally increasing pot of gamer score that you can use to compare to your friends. To me, I find that to be a more compelling system personally.
Well, now here's the thing. PlayStation does have that. Each trophy is worth a certain amount of points. You have a combined trophy score or whatever. Like, that exists. The only difference between the two systems is that Xbox doesn't have a platinum trophy, you got all of them. Here is the obvious reward that you completed everything. That's the apple to fucking reach for, which I think is why people like trophy hunting so much, as opposed to, you don't hear a ton about achievement hunting. Of course, there's an achievement hunter channel. I'm not fucking saying it doesn't exist, but the platinum trophy is just that icing on the cake. It's the cherry on top that I do think would be cool if they implemented, but also they've had the same achievement system since fucking 2008. So they're not going to change it now.
Yeah, they had it before PlayStation had trophies. Trophies were copying achievements. But I also
They
don't give a
better.
shit. So I don't give a shit. So that's why I didn't even know about that trophy score thing. Who cares? You do. I don't.
Most people.
That's it's funny. I don't know how I don't think as many people care about trophies as you think, or else the trophy list wouldn't be so fucking poor half the time.
Well, I think it's just that devs don't know how important trophies are to people, and trophies can be something that very negatively impacts an experience if they're not designed properly, and people do complain about that consistently.
I think it depends on the circles you're running, because if you're running like the fucking sacred symbols and PS I love you circle, then trophies matter. But they're pretty, at least Colin is pretty much like, clearly developers don't understand. If developers don't understand, probably people don't care, because a developer knows well enough that they should probably have a good trophy list at this point. But that's a different conversation.
I don't think they do. I think that's the problem. If fucking Naughty Dog has played the game 10 times and fucking get 100 headshots with every rifle, that's just not good design. And Naughty Dog has enough experience to where they know that people go for their trophies. Like, that's
that just suggests back to me that, like, I think the whole trophy thing is like, nobody's going to beat your game anyway, so why does it really matter? I think trophy hunting appeals to a very small subsection of players who are also the vocal contingent of them. I think that's the thing.
All right, what else you got? You want to share the story, or you would say that for last?
I know, I guess so. I got Metal Gear Solid Twin Snakes for my birthday. I've been wanting to play it for so long, but my fucking Japanese GameCube is breaking.
What?
I'm gonna
wait. Didn't you just get that?
Well, I got it secondhand off eBay, and it's very cheap, and I guess now I know why. But I got this 70% ice.
I was pouring this liquid into my GameCube, and for some reason the GameCube wasn't working.
But no, I got this. Apparently, I can very easily clean because people don't know, the GameCube's disc laser is unprotected in the disc like compartment. If you open up a GameCube, you'll see this little like tiny fucking fisheye looking thing, and that's what reads the discs. And there is no protective lens over it, so it gets fucked up really easily. So I'm hopefully going to clean it and it's going to work. But I've been wanting to play Twin Snakes for so long. I finally got a copy of it. The Japanese copy, by the way, has full English in it. Even for like game menu text. So it's It's just the cheaper version with the better box art. So I was finding that version. It's the one I preferred actually, but I played about 2 hours. I think the game is really cool. I think it's a manageable length. I think it's kind of a cool fusion of classic MGS and mid 2000s MGS3 era crazy horseshit Kojima storytelling because it kind of backfills that into MGS1.
Mhm.
But like, I'm not gonna I'm not gonna talk to you with any kind of authority about the first like hour of Twin Snakes because I
Yeah.
was just kept fighting with my fucking GameCube. So hopefully I'm gonna
What was
fix it.
happening specifically, like gameplay
It just
experience wise?
it'll keep airing out. It'll crash and say can't read the desk, can't read the
Oh,
desk, and
oh.
it's not the desk's fault. The desks are perfectly clean.
Mhm.
It's the laser. So hopefully I can fix that. If not, I'm gonna have to replace that. So either you'll hear about Twin Snakes next week or in several weeks when I can fucking get a new Japanese GameCube. So
Yeah. Well,
too bad.
good luck
Very
with that.
cool. Very cool game. Wish I could talk about it, but I can't.
But you can't. You said you have two more, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Then I'll just go one, and then you go, and then I go, then you go. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Because we're gonna do a quick one here. Because believe it or not, folks, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I played Call of Duty for the first time
Oh yeah.
this week. I played the multiplayer for Call of Duty Vanguard on
Oh,
Xbox
okay.
Series S and X, but not the X because I don't have one of those. So I had this game downloading because, as some of you might know, there's a plan in the works to review Call of Duty games from the perspective of someone who's not experienced with Call of Duty going into next year. And I've got a bunch of people going on. It's gonna be a big fucking hoopla, and I'm very excited about it. But the initial idea before it got kind of reworked into a more retrospective series was for me to start with Vanguard so that Abram and I could talk about it so we could have a more modern discussion. So we bought Call of Duty Vanguard. We went halfsies on it on
Yes.
Xbox Store, which may or may not have been a good idea. Now that we're learning how
That'll
Xbox's
work
game
out.
series work, game
It's
showing
fine.
works. And so I downloaded it so I could hop into it because I thought I was going to do that imminently. But I decided, well, my friends were over. Why don't I try Call of Duty multiplayer? And I will once again note, like I did with my first impressions for Halo Infinite's multiplayer, I'm not particularly experienced with online multiplayer FPS games. I played a lot of Overwatch, played a lot of TF2, a lot of Counter-Strike. I've played online multiplayer shooter games, but I'm not versed in them enough to necessarily know this is what this series does best. This is what's wrong with these maps, that kind of stuff. What I found in playing Call of Duty Vanguard online multiplayer is that, first off, this game does not look very good. The anti-aliasing on the characters and the fucking models and shit is really weird. Their hair looks like fuzz, and I don't know how that happened. I've seen good-looking hair in video games before. Activision is not a small company that can figure it out next year. How the fuck do their characters' hair models look this fucking bad? And that I was getting my teeth kicked in because I do not know anything about the mechanics of a map and a round of Call of Duty. There's a fucking supply kit that you can get sometimes. I don't really know what triggers that to be unlocked. I don't know what's in the case, particularly what I don't know how good each of the guns are on different maps, stuff like that. So I played 3 rounds. For 2 of them, I was doing very poorly. I was getting killed left and right because there's very weird spawning in Call of Duty where you can spawn in and your enemy.
Were you playing deathmatch, by the way?
Maybe. Couldn't tell you. No idea.
Sure.
So for those, I was not doing very well. But the third match that I did, I actually was holding my own, and I was very proud of myself. I got like 15 kills to 9 deaths or something like that, so positive. And I was patting myself on the back, and then next round I got my teeth kicked in again. So there's no really real takeaway from this for me. And we'll see how I am able to better understand what's unique and what works about Call of Duty once I've experienced more of the series. But for my first dabbling in, especially the multiplayer side of Call of Duty, once again, it kind of just felt like what I expected. Like there was no surprises. It controlled the way I thought it would. The guns worked the way I thought they would. Like, there we go. And that's really all I have to say about it. I didn't find anything anything particularly wrong with it. Again, except for I think it wasn't as visually impressive as I thought it would be. But I wasn't enamored with it in any particular way.
I don't like Call of Duty's multiplayer.
Okay.
I think it is way too fucking twitchy. I think that time to kill is way too fucking low. I think that when you're playing deathmatch and people are spawning everywhere, it is a game of did you see me? I'm dead. Did I see you? You're dead.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Obviously, that's reductive to an extent, but that is also the sort of experience, the moment-to-moment loop that is created by having a time to kill this fucking low.
Yeah.
And that there is an appeal to that, which I totally understand.
Mm-hmm.
It's not. I don't look at Call of Duty and think, man, why does this sell so much?
Mm-hmm.
Because that feedback loop is satisfying when you're going positive.
Yeah.
But for my taste, I'd much rather play either a Battlefield. Well, yes, either a Battlefield or ideally a Halo, where that time to kill gets longer and longer, and there's more strategy to these encounters where you can get a reversal in Halo and kill the guy attacking you first. You're probably not getting that reversal in Call of Duty.
Yeah.
And that's just it's a different style, but for me, it's a completely repellent one. I have no interest in Call of Duty multiplayer beyond what I've played in the past.
Yeah.
The campaigns, that's a different story.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think that low time to kill, the blockbuster feel, the guns and everything, that services a cinematic narrative campaign a lot better, in my opinion, than a PvP experience. So
sure. Yeah. And you're gonna get quite a bit of those of analysis on those kind of experiences coming in the year of our Lord 2022.
I think I'll probably play Vanguard over the next couple of days. I think it's pretty short, that single player.
Well, I'll play it in like 3 years when we get to Vanguard.
I am curious to give it a shot, but
okay. Well, that was my Vanguard talk.
Okay, so now is that you go again, or do I go?
No,
now?
you go now, because I have one more game.
Ooh, all right. This is a complicated one, Tucker. So you're gonna have to fucking strap your buckles down.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, batten down the hatches. I played Star Wars Battlefront 2, 2005.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
But I played modded Star Wars Battlefront 2, 2005.
Mm-hmm.
And in particular, I played Star Wars Battlefront 2's Star Wars Battlefront 3 Legacy mod. Now, this is something that I intend to dive...
The hatches in my mind are not taking this very well.
This is something that I intend to dive much deeper into on Retroware, and hopefully interview the people behind this mod.
Oh,
because
okay.
What Battlefront 3 Legacy is, the mod, is it is a reconstruction of the canceled Star Wars Battlefront 3 in Battlefront 2.
Sure.
The doors of Battlefront 3 have been blown the fuck open for a long time.
Yeah. And
so modders have taken those assets, the game types, even some of the narrative beats, the characters, the models, and backported that into Battlefront 2 and built out basically a Battlefront 3 in the game, according to what that game would have been had it released.
Interesting.
Now, what I'm really curious about is how you actually go about doing that. How do you get your hands on these models? How do you put these models into the game? Because this is accurate. They have what the calling card of Battlefront 3, what it was going to be, is that you're going to have seamless ground to air battles. You could fight on the ground, get in a starship, fly up to space, and continue fighting up there, back and forth. And that's here in this mod.
Yeah.
You can do that on the maps. You can be playing on Coruscant, hop in an ARC 170, fly through the Trade Federation or the Separatist ships, fly back down. It's very impressive, and it is what that game was going to be. And from that perspective, this is fucking fascinating to me, because this is perhaps the most infamous canceled game of my life.
Yeah.
Star Wars 1313 comes close, but my personal connection to Battlefront 2 makes this the big fucking kahuna, even above Amy Hennig's Star Wars game, or the Darth Maul one, or 1313, or any of the other
list of Star Wars games.
Yes, but this is Battlefront 3. Built, of course, within the physics and the core mechanics of Battlefront 2, but it's fascinating. I've been having a really good time playing it, because it's basically the Battlefront game we didn't get. Now, of course, that also became Elite Squadron, but Elite Squadron's on PSP, and so that's these ideas, but incredibly gimped, of course, for that piece of hardware.
Yeah.
But playing this on PC, on max settings across the board, very compelling experience that I just want to know more about from a from a technical perspective, from a preservationist perspective, from a fan enthusiast perspective. It's super, super interesting to me.
Yeah. I mean, that is something, modding, especially to that degree, is something I never got into. My experience with mods is downloading Minecraft mods, which is not particularly complicated to do, and of course is probably one of the biggest modding scenes in game history. I mean,
definitely
Doom, fucking Skyrim, like those come close, but modded Minecraft is its own beast. But people aren't making full games with official models and stuff in it.
Yeah.
Like what you're telling me is a fan group just made the next game because fucking EA, it wasn't EA, but whoever was publishing at the time just did not do it. So they're like, fine, I'll do it myself. And they did. And apparently it's very cool. And I'll be interested to hear your thoughts on the game, not necessarily as a mod, but as a complete experience once you've played through it. That's what I'm sort of waiting for. But yeah, I mean, obviously I've not played the PS2 Battlefront game. I didn't even know that there was a canceled Battlefront 3. But from what you tell me, this is a very impressive project, and game preservation and the problems that have come with it have annoyed me specifically in the last few days, as I think I'll get into maybe next week, because spoiler alert, not spoiler, but I have a dentist appointment at 11, which is in 47 minutes. So I'm actually going to skip my final game, and then we can get straight into the community stuff. But I would like to have a bigger conversation about game preservation, about mods, about all that probably next week.
Sure. So we're going right to community?
Yeah. You said you have one more game?
I can save it for maybe a top games of the year list.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, it's same for me. Okay. Let's get into community submissions.
Whoop, 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 whoop.
All right. I'm going to start with Will, who wrote in about the thing that I was asking for, which is Peggle. Because if you remember last week, I played Peggle 2 or discussed Peggle 2. And I said, I know there's a lot of Peggle fans in our Discord. Write in about why Peggle is actually cool, because I don't fucking get it. I believe, I haven't read it yet, but I believe Will did that. He says, okay, Peggle was an obsession for me for a while. During quarantine, I'd have a 2-monitor setup. One was for classes, calculus, chemistry, laying and comp, the whole shit. The other monitor, the one I paid attention to, was Peggle. I played Peggle every class, every day, every second I could, and holy fuck, I love it. It's become such a joke in my friend group that for Christmas, I got a Peggle hat from one of them. Peggle and Peggle Knight, I think it's Knights, maybe it's Knight, I don't know, are some of the dumbest, most fun, most skillful games I've played. Also, I can hear the fucking sound effects in my head. The games are amazing. Also, Peggle 2 has troll face. Now,
that didn't really answer your question.
This did not clarify, which is fine. I don't put all my onus on this random fucking guy that is in our Discord server. I don't give a shit. But that blows my mind, because the way I would describe Peggle is not skillful. I mean, maybe that's just because I don't know the fucking mechanics of it enough, but I still don't get it. Sorry, Will, you didn't do what I wanted you to do. You disappoint me.
The one thing I'd say about Will's comment is he was playing Peggle 2, but I played all of Donkey Kong Country 2, Donkey Kong Country 3, Super Mario Galaxy, Halo 2, Marvel's Avengers, Destiny 2, and several other games to near or complete completion over my Zoom classes. So that's what I was doing.
The one game I specifically remember playing during class was Minish Cap on my computer, on my emulator on my computer, because I would be like in Latin class and I would go shoop and go to fucking Minish Cap. Now I'm in fucking Zelda world. It was
Zoom, so I got egregious with it at a certain point, especially when we got sent home early, around 2020, because my school had a big COVID outbreak back then. So they're like, just go home early. Yeah, take the semester is going to be done for now. I literally would go into some of my classes, turn off my camera, mute myself, sit in front of my TV, turn off the sound, and on my fucking enormous flat screen TV, play Halo 2. Got an A in that class, by the way, so don't worry about me. Next comment here comes from Tanner Dykstra.
No, Abby has a Final Fantasy VII Remake one. Don't fucking skip that.
The next comment comes from BLB intern Abby. I played Final Fantasy VII Remake in the intermission episode on PC. I was super surprised by the graphics and how detailed the model's environments are. But what took me aback even more was the story. I knew that FF7 had a great story, but I seriously underestimated it. I grew to love Cloud, and now he is one of my favorite gaming protagonists. I also like the combat a lot. It took a bit of getting used to, but once I got it, it was easy to blitz out commands. I also like the upgraded combat in the intermission episode and the story completed in the main game as well. I now have watched so many videos on Final Fantasy VII lore and theories.
Now, what's crazy about this, it's not anything about Final Fantasy VII, but is that I think I remember him saying, "Oh, I'm excited to try this," like 3 days ago, and he's already through it. And you know what? Godspeed, soldier. Godspeed.
What's interesting is it's actually a really good length. The game's like 20 hours long, which is still a ton to play in the time that he played it.
Yes.
However, unlike most JRPGs, it is not fucking toothsome.
Yes.
You can finish. It's a week. You can beat this game in a week, and I think that's about good. I think 7 Remake is fucking awesome. I love Final Fantasy 7 Remake.
That was one of the first games I think we talked about just like on the channel, because you were bringing it up in all of your top of the year, or we had a couple.
Yeah, probably.
One of our first videos was top games we played during quarantine, and you definitely brought it up there.
Definitely, yeah. It's an awesome one. I haven't played Intermission though. I'd like to. I just haven't gotten around to it.
Grade.
No, Intergrade is the PS5 release. Intermission is the Yuffie DLC. You fucking idiot. That should be obvious.
Yeah, it should be. Oops. Sorry, Square. Didn't mean to fuck it up.
By the way, Enter is in lowercase. Mission is all in uppercase.
I don't know if I like any of this. All right. That brings us to the man of the hour himself. New member of BLB on the community submission side, Tanner Dykstra. Give a round of applause. He finally played a video game. I'm very proud of him.
Now, of course, OG BLB fans know that Tanner kind of the progenitor of the community submission.
Technically.
Coming at us with a live video submission one time.
Oh, yeah. He did his God of War review on a BLB video at one point. That was fun. All right. He says, I finally finished Deathloop. Really loved how this game is designed, and surprisingly, it didn't get worn out as I replayed the levels. In fact, the game absolutely succeeds as making you feel adept in your ability to navigate the levels and utilize the shortcuts, hiding places, and routes you've discovered. I really felt like I, as Colt, was mastering these locations and maximizing my time. The only detraction I would have is the game provides little incentive to complete side quests, but maybe that's just a testament to how engaging the core game is. Overall, pretty good story, great mechanics, and great gameplay hook, great art style. 8.5 out of 10. Now, this is a man of taste.
10, you're wrong.
As we can see. I think that the one thing that he mentioned sort of in the middle there is that how the game really focuses on your knowledge of the maps is definitely true. I think that the entire conceit of a time loop mechanic is based around these maps being very, very detailed and very, very interesting to explore. The way that you are able to master a route and a level that took you 25 minutes to get to the end of to kill the fucking guy at the end of it can take you 3 minutes if you know, I can just go up on this roof, boing, boing, boing. Here's my fucking zoop and kill him, get right out in fucking 5 minutes. The game really puts a focus on that. And I'm very glad he finally beat it. One thing I would say is it would be very difficult for this game to get repetitive or unengaging for him because it took him 4 months to beat it. He had not played, I believe, a video game in the past 2 months since the last time he played any Deathloop. So his opinion is colored very heavily by the fact that he played it over a very extended period of time. But I didn't, and I agree with him on almost all these points.
I really hope we get a Deathloop sequel because, for me, I recognize everything you guys are saying, but on a mechanical level, I just didn't feel it. I think that this is a game of such strong ideas that hit for some and didn't for others. And I hope that what is a very talented team over at Arcane Leon can take these ideas and make something, perhaps not even a direct Deathloop sequel, because this kind of feels like a self-contained narrative.
Yes.
But
especially at the end, yes.
A conceptually similar title, maybe in the same universe or with Colt somewhere else, or even just another narrative on Black Reef, or just taking these lessons to a new similar game. I think we can take these ideas to a natural conclusion and maybe 100%. Get even me on board.
No one wants that. Now, I jumped my gully a little bit. Yeah. I've still got 25 minutes until I need to leave. Do you want to talk about those other games? Do you want to sandwich community submissions in the middle?
Sure.
Because I thought the community submission was going to take longer. I forgot that we only had 3. Oh, I thought it's not true. Reality Tim says he's been playing Mario Party Superstars with his niece. She gets a 2-star head start in the board game for only being 6 years old. Though this hasn't helped her to win overall just yet.
And then of course Will comes in and says, "Coward, make her play fair."
You know what? True. We gotta beat these kids so they learn how to fucking play Mario Party. Okay. Do you want to do these games, or should we just end the episode?
Now, Tucker, let's do a little inside baseball here. What is your game? Something that would appear on our top games list? Any of them?
Yeah.
So is mine.
All of them. Okay, so maybe we should just save it for that because we're recording coming out tomorrow as of the release of this video, our discussion of our top 21 games we played in 2021.
Yes, sir.
And I guess both these games are going to be on those lists.
Yeah.
Well,
so I think Tucker, we built a little suspense here. They don't need to know what we played.
Well, they do because they're in the Discord and they've been seeing us talk about both these games.
I actually don't know which one you're talking about, but I'm sure I'll know when you mention it.
Yes, sure. That makes a lot of sense. All right. Well, then we will see you guys if you're watching today, tomorrow for that video. But thank you very much for watching, for joining us on this wonderful 2021 journey. I believe, just for shits and giggles, we'll call the next installment of BLB season 3. Doesn't make any fucking sense, but it's the end of the year. Might as well make some format. Yeah, it's slightly changed thumbnail format.
Happy New Year.
Yeah.
Is it gonna be New Year? No, yeah. When you're watching this, I guess it'll be the New Year the day after. I don't fucking care. It's all the same. Time's irrelevant.
Bye. You like folding laundry?
No, I don't, believe it or not.
I love it.
Yeah?
Believe it or not.
Well, you're a man who enjoys the simple pleasures.
Yeah. The simple pleasures of your mommy on my PB.
Well,
it's a fucking Thursday morning. What do you expect from me?
That's it. You know what? Fair.
People avoid me on Thursday mornings. They don't know what I'm gonna do, you know?
Of course, yeah.
I don't know who I am. Did I get my house?